Hello and welcome back to another devlog. So, in this devlog, I have reworked the menu, although I'm not sure I like this type of setup yet. I think I'm going to go for a gray, a white on gray, where the text is white and the background is more gray color. And then I added an audio slider here, so now you can hear menu music that I've designed. So, menu music, probably going to change that up a little bit over time, but for now it works. Because I'll probably be releasing a demo on itch once I get enough content produced for the game to be suitable for public kind of playtest. And then, as you can see in the background, I've had added this new, not really sure what it's called actually, but you see this a lot in games where it's just the thumbnail kind of background thing that just kind of moves around a bit. So, I've also added in the bottom left hand corner some things for when you start out, so that way you know some of the controls really quickly and what you're supposed to do. So this whole room I think is new, so there's a lot going on here. However, so you can walk around as much as you want. There's gonna be eventually an announcer kind of guy who goes through some speakers at the top here. But for now, this is what it looks like. Not too much going on because I don't really want to confuse the player either. But I do have like two separate areas, and then I also have this button over here to intrigue the interest of the player, and then along with a glass wall. So the announcer will kind of tell you to try to open this box. Once you get it open, you can then take out the box that's inside and then place it on the button. And I don't know if you noticed, but at the beginning there I spawned in and had a fade in kind of effect, so that way it's not a super sudden jump. I've also added it in the bottom left hand corner. And then you'll notice here when I walk into this room, it'll fade out. However, right now I accidentally built the game so it's impossible to press the quit to menu button, so I'm not going to walk in there until the end. But I also noticed I did a little play test with some of my friends, and when they tried to open the box, they realized at first that before I had this yellow handle here that they would just try to walk up and just click the box. So then I portrayed the handle and then add the circles to portray that it was a hinge and that you needed to open it like that. Always interesting to have people go through and play test your game, make sure it works. I implemented a little bit of sound for these chairs as well. Although I'm not sure if you can actually hear that because the audio slider's all the way down. Yeah, you can throw these chairs around as much as you want. You can also break them, throw their legs around and whatnot. So all these individual square pieces here can be broken off. If I can get that to work. You also can no longer grab things from across the map, so that's nice. You have to be near it to actually grab it. Ready? Probably don't want to see me destroying chairs for the whole time. So I also added computer desks along with some reflections with a little keyboard looking thing there. So I'm planning on adding sounds for most of the objects in the game, as well as pickup sounds, all of that stuff. However, I just haven't gotten around that quite yet. But yeah, looks like that'll be all for this devlog. You can also break off the hinge off of that thing. So, have a good day, and bye.
Already sync up when I press or get near the play button and move over here. Alright, so, so this is the more boring part of the devlog, I guess. I haven't really done too much of this yet, but I just want to explain how I do some things, although it's probably not best practice. It works, and it runs on a very bad 2013 MacBook Pro, so if my game runs there, I feel like it'll run on most people's computers. So, I'll worry about optimizing if it becomes an issue, but right now it's fine. Okay, so I have a raw image, placed an animator here to do the fade in, fade out kind of effects. As soon as you spawn in, I just got a text message. That doesn't matter. Okay. So as soon as you spawn in, you get a fade, fade in or fade out effect. I can't remember what it's called, but basically fade from black into the game, and that's just because the scene starts. That's what happens there. And then for the room over here that has the fade out effect, there's a little trigger here called the cutscene trigger, and as soon as you enter this area here, it will only be activated by the player, so if you throw in a chair or something, nothing will happen. So that works just fine there. And yeah, so I did some occlusion culling. You can see that here. Kind of hard to understand, but basically occlusion culling, very nice thing, helps optimize your game, make sure that things that don't want to be rendered don't need to be. Well, that's not really how it works, but yeah, basically it doesn't render things that you can't see. With that in mind, I also bake all of my lighting in this scene. Nothing is real-time lights, so it might look kind of weird because there's no shadows anywhere, but for the most part, it helps it run really smoothly without having all the fancy post-processing effects that are normally located in games. So yeah, here's the big light map. You can see that. Can I open up a bigger preview? Here's my bigger preview. So there's the light map. Pretty basic. You can see the basic layout from the top here, what it looks like. Okay, so for the glass, it's just a painted texture. It looks kind of grimy, so that way it's not completely see-through, because otherwise it would be an issue for the player, because the player wouldn't be able to see it. And reflection probe for the reflections in the scene. I realize that makes all the normal maps look way better. Makes them a lot more visible, because before I completely turned off real-time reflections, not real-time reflections, but I turned off environmental reflections, like all of them. So that's why everything looked kind of weird in the beginning there, if you didn't notice in the earlier devlogs. And these chairs here, everything uses like a couple of textures, because I'm trying to keep the size of this game down pretty low too. I want it to be able to fit on a flash drive easily, which pretty easy considering I'm only at like 100 megabytes, and then Unity exports for like about 70 megabytes by default when you export a project, so that's good. I don't know how it is for the 2D renderer because I haven't really used that at all. But yeah, and then these computer screens are just real simple HDR material. Glows really nicely. However, on the lowest setting, it'll just appear blue, but that works too because you know you're on the lowest setting, so it's not going to look all fancy. Added hinge-looking things. Those don't move at all, nor do they have a hitbox, because otherwise I could mess with things. This button actually does not trigger this door, but it will later, and other things. What else to talk about? So I think that's actually it for now. Oh yeah. Actually, it's not. Okay, audio sources shift their audio how loud they are based off of how hard they hit things, and that's using like the dot magnitude thing that you get with on collision. It's a thing that you can pull and use in that function. Really handy. So that way, when it's more immersive that way. I will be adding sound effects for when the player jumps, when the player picks up items, all of that nice stuff. I still have yet to come up with a name, as you can see here, but working on that too. But I think I'll name it once I actually release the demo, because if I release an untitled game, probably wouldn't do as well as Untitled Goose Game. But yeah. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Sorry about the FPS drops here. I have too much stuff open right now for recording and for recording my audio, because I'm using separate things for that. Hopefully it's all synced up, otherwise it's going to look weird. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.